Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here this morning to speak on a subject which is extremely dear to me and which we have been participating in. I bring greetings from Bone and Joint Decade India 9 and my colleagues, Dr. Mahendranath, Dr. Babulkar, Dr. Amrish Mittal, and Mr. Shrive, what are in this meeting. And I also present this on behalf of so many investigators who have worked day and night to make this possible. Yes, we are united in diversity. It's a great strength for us. It may have few weaknesses. And it's no mean task when you think of a national program in a country like India. No. I am privileged to be the international coordinator for WHO COPCOT program, which has been completed or is going on in more than 22 countries worldwide. And I invite some of you to have a look at the websites, and perhaps some of you have come from countries where a population survey has not been done. You're welcome to contact us and we would help you in completing a survey under this program. Community-oriented program for control of rheumatic diseases was begun in 1980s with initial focus on developing countries, rural economies in particular. And the focus was on pain and disability. I stand humbled by the fact that yesterday one of the speakers thought that imaging of pain would be one of the major breakthroughs in the next decade. And I do believe seriously that medical students, wherever they are in the world, are not trained properly how to treat pain. And that still continues to be one of our major problems all over the world. And pain is universal. We may differ in our methods, we may differ in technology, we may differ in all what we have spoken yesterday, but pain binds all of us in the world. And COPCOT is all about pain and disability. We have a uniform standardized questionnaire which was developed based on a program that I initiated in village Bhigwan, which is 100 kilometers from Pune, and I think some of you have memories of your visit to Bhigwan when you came for the World BJD meeting in Pune. This was a uniform questionnaire, 5,000 population plus minus selected in over 12 sites all over India. And the screening question was, have you suffered from pain, swelling, stiffness, or decrease in range and motion or musculoskeletal soft tissues in the last 7 days or sometime in the past? Now this is the first question. If somebody says yes to this question, then he or she proceeds through a detailed record of patient perceptions, health assessment questionnaires, treatment resources, and a detailed rheumatology evaluation. Phase 1 captures demographic and all the other uses in the population. This is a house-to-house survey. And the first thing we learned from Bhigwan in 1996 was that on a self-reported data, musculoskeletal aches and pains are the commonest problem in a community. And I think COPCOT today has the largest database of self-reported morbidity in the world, as to the best of my knowledge. Phase 2 is all about pain, and this is just an example of what the data looks like. These are the studies in Pune region, rural and Pune COPCOT, which were recently published. And as you can see, the commonest problems are knees, backache, shoulders, and upper back, cervical region. In phase 2, we capture community perceptions. These are done by trained health workers from the community. And the last phase is a rheumatology case record form, which we all complete. There is a poster put up by us outside, which some of you must have seen, and which really captures the spirit of this program in India. This program was totally sponsored by Bone and Joint Decade India using the Bhigwan model. And as you can see, we have tried to cover a large part of India. To the best of my knowledge, this is the largest single country effort to capture population musculoskeletal problems in the last 10 or 15 or maybe 20 years. I'm not aware of a similar problem anywhere, a similar program anywhere in the world. And we also involved the government of India, which has sanctioned 3 additional sites with me in the chair in Delhi region, Jodhpur, and Dibrugarh. So the end of this year or early next year, we'll have 1 lakh people captured through this program, uniformly and in a very systematic manner, recorded for their pain, disability, and all kinds of rheumatological disorders. An eyeball view of what we are coming. This is a very preliminary analysis. We just completed this project. We were in a hurry to complete it during the decade. This was the mandate given to us when we initiated Bone and Joint Decade India in 2000, that we should be looking at the burden of disease to begin with, to know what the problems are in a community and then build up the story on that. Now, this is not the best way of analyzing the data. Pooling is yet not standardized. We have pulled in all the numbers. And we can make a sort of a rough estimate that almost 1/5 of the country's population would have had pain in the past or having pain at the moment. And many of them would be having musculoskeletal problems. 8 rural sites, about 38,000 plus people now screened. And as you can see, the rates of pain response may vary from 15 in the Delhi region, outside Delhi, about 50 kilometers away is a village, from 15 to almost as much as 29 and 30, which is some of the European reports which I'm aware of. And on the urban side, there's a variation of 7 from Rajasthan, a place in Rajasthan, to about 15. And very recently, I published this paper on the data that came out from the Pune region. Is there an urban-rural split? I'm aware that the distinction between towns and villages is blurred in perhaps Europe and in the United States or many of the developed countries. But a lot of the world still has what is called a village and a town. And I think this is very important because the first time I think we're establishing significant differences in the phenotypic musculoskeletal disorders. And that perhaps is giving us some messages on the insights as to what may be the causes of these musculoskeletal problems. And this is published work now. Also to share with you, COPCOT has taught us that the commonest problem in a community is not rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. These are ill-defined aches and pains, all kinds of soft rheumatism, which have been neglected by and large by the epidemiology world. And this has been seen in every COPCOT survey that I have coordinated or personally carried out. Now, as far as this paper is concerned, we have published rates, adjusted rates for age, sex, and a very frequent question asked to me is, how much of rheumatoid arthritis do you see in India? Of course, we see rheumatoid arthritis, and we see rheumatoid arthritis just the way you see it, but obviously the genetics and the immunogenetics are going to be different, and I have some work to show on that. Some of you are aware of this particular publication of the WHO, which came at the beginning of this decade, and we learned from our own data, which was published in that, which we subsequently validated, that if this is true, and this is based on data from Big One Village, if this is true, then India has perhaps the largest number of young women with rheumatoid arthritis. And this is something which we have been observing for several years, and we don't know why the reason. Just about 2 weeks back, one of our colleagues in this whole project was awarded a PhD for her outstanding work on HLA, DEPQ, immunogenetics. And to sum up, yes, our genetics are different. We are not surprised. They are bound to be different. And yesterday I was talking last night that the story of tobacco, CCP, RA may be a little different in many parts of the world, and this hypothesis ought to be tested outside Europe and United States. We have a large amount of tobacco use, but we still haven't analyzed that data. And then one of our another colleagues who was funded by the Bowen and Joint Decade India recently was certified as a pediatric rheumatologist. She completed a course, and very recently we have published the largest series of children with juvenile inflammatory arthritis. 240 children worked thoroughly over almost 10 years to publish a series of what GIA is. And the commonest type of GIA in our population appears to be enthesitis-related arthritis rather than oligoarticular. Well, it's not only science that I'm here to present with. There's a tremendous community participation. We do sensitize our communities before we do the studies. The Activity Week is on the collar, and some of you have visited Pune. I need not say what kind of enthusiasm we generate and how wonderfully well the community contributes to our efforts. I possibly cannot end up this talk by acknowledging that there's so many of my colleagues, both in rheumatology, orthopedics, and other public health, who have participated in these wonderful studies and who have worked to generate this data. It all started in 1996, and I think some of you recall this gentleman, Dr. Tandle, who's a village practitioner, who is a mentor to the program, the one who in 1996 who started this huge effort to gather musculoskeletal data in India, and we still have him with us, and this is how we looked in 1996. We have longitudinal follow-up studies. Big One has possibly got the longest COPCOT follow-up in the world. We are in the 14th year of studying this population. We have the largest possibly sera bank and DNA bank that I can think of as far as COPCOT is concerned, and we have a large amount of data on risk factors and on incidence cases. Dr. Mahendranath, and I think if yesterday you saw that even Lars, we made Lars wear a turban when he came to Pune, and everyone, I mean, we all are Maharajas as far as Big One is concerned, as far as COPCOT is concerned, and those of you who have not visited this village, you're most welcome to visit this. We have the difference is, The single biggest difference that has possibly led to the success of the COPQUAD movement in India is that we not only collect data, but we serve the community. It's free of cost provision of rheumatological services to these people. And I do believe, and I think I want to share my own personal sentiment, that is our part of the world, the community has to be served if we need data from them. And this is what we have done. Dr. Richard Wigley, a very senior rheumatologist, and I'm glad the chair is from New Zealand. So you know, Dr. Richard Wigley is one of the most senior distinguished rheumatologists who has been a referee to the COPQUAD India program. And therefore, I cannot thank enough all these people. Please visit our website for any further information or get in touch with me. But now, in 2010, I'm very sure that the kind of data that we have would perhaps provide the platform to launch a national strategy program. In fact, only 2 weeks ago, Amrish was there and Dr. Babulkar there. We all had a meeting, and with the head of department of public health in AIIMS, New Delhi, we already begun our work to create a national strategy. This is what inspires us. Yesterday you heard about a video on movement, and our movement is Mahatma Gandhi. He walked miles and miles and miles to create that revolution. And this was part of a talk which was given to us in October 2006 by Professor Pandav. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this great opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much.